I'm just gonna do an off-the-cuff, non-unscripted rant here since the algorithm is about to have a gushing orgasm over the latest churn event. Two major milestones in the history of feminism happened this month. The greatest voice for liberation and equity of our generation is no longer going to be producing content. Her contributions were profound. Her reach was expansive. She taught me more than I will ever be able to thank her for, because she is gone to us, and we will never see her like again. Her name was Bell Hooks. The other thing that happened was that Lindsay Ellis decided she needed to quit the platform. Now, I sit here furiously pounding out this totally unscripted statement with shaking white-knuckled hands. Why? Because within hours of Ellis's Chablis-stained self-eulogy making its way to Patreon, it appears that the entirety of leftist YouTube has broken their actual asses to get content uploaded. I suppose they desperately needed to commemorate the loss of this titanic voice, right? Now let's be real, folks. The fact is that any breadtuber worth their gluten knows an algorithmically appropriate response when they see one, but let's be charitable. Lindsay Ellis has suffered a lot for her art. She's spent years carefully crafting a parasocial codependency with the platform. She's courted angry Nazis, angry theater goers, angry people who really need to appear to care about racism maybe. She made her and her staff's living doing this work, and the horribly predictable response from those groups has led her to having to reconsider whether the income was worth the expense, and that is sad for her. Yet, one can't help but think that this USC alum, published author, and media CEO is probably going to be okay. In fact, I predict she will be back on this platform, or one like it, within the next 2 years in at least one way, shape, or form. I feel very strongly that nobody should receive the kind of pain she's claiming to be experiencing in her letter. I feel similarly about the sting of a framing hammer to the head, which is why I vehemently oppose anyone making their living by actively exploiting the machinery of the internet that results in either of those two consequences. But what about Bell Hooks? What about the author of seminal feminist and intersectional texts such as Ain't I a Woman? Black Women and Feminism, wherein she details how, among other things, women who look and act like Ms. Ellis make it nearly impossible for black women to achieve the level of influence Ellis walked away from. In teaching to transgress, she, unlike any other author I can find, actually did the impossible, as was to offer practical examples to achieve the kinds of praxis Paulo Freire described in his revolutionary book Pedagogy of the Oppressed. In The Will to Change, she writes a compelling set of reasons why, and methods to, divest oneself from the toxic, patriarchal bullshit all males are indoctrinated with from the womb in these rapidly declining United States of America. All of these works and more are the contributions of a woman who comes along once, maybe every couple hundred years, and what do we hear from BreadTube on the days following her passing? This should stand as a reminder to all of you out there, the 10 people who are going to watch this screed, that no amount of profit-driven media is going to accommodate the deep gap in your knowledge and praxis that is left when you don't read books. Read a fucking book. Quit crying over some YouTuber's dubious retirement and instead take a big long look at what precisely has you seeking content like this. That's all I've got.